Joe Rogan came out with a real big announcement today saying that he's moving his podcast exclusively to Spotify. He's taking it off every single other platform, including YouTube, and the audio and video will only be on Spotify. The only thing that's going to be on other places will be Joe Rogan clips, which will be on YouTube. But that's it. Other than that, if you want the full thing, it's only on Spotify. He signed this big deal, and it's a multi-year deal too. It's not like for 1 year. It's a big, big deal. I think that's really interesting. I think
How
that's going
much
to
was it?
completely... It's not disclosed, but like people are estimating that he'll still get his normal sponsored ads, which will be millions that he reads, but also Spotify will pay him. People are saying like 100 million a year.
What it's reported to be.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, the first thing I thought when you told me this was like, well, that's insane because his audience is on every platform, and that's why the podcast's so big.
What's interesting is he's never been on Spotify before at all.
I know, but I'm saying his audience was huge on podcast audio. It's been number one for the last decade, I guess, since podcasts were a thing. And it's also some of his episodes get 7 million, 4 million on YouTube. Like the big ones get really big numbers, don't they? Like what, say the Elon Musk one, like what's his highest viewed podcast on YouTube? Probably like 20 million or something.
I'll have a look.
About that, and you would think that
That's
his
huge
audio
numbers.
would at least be double that.
And the ad rates
think.
on that, like, because it's an hour thing, I don't know how often he's putting in ads, but god damn, like...
Man, if you went
Such
to
a
like
big
any,
audience.
if you went to any company and you were like, I've got Elon Musk, this thing's getting 50 mil minimum. I mean, as a business, you're paying at least millions to get your brand there.
34 million.
Yeah.
Was that the Elon Musk episode?
Yeah, but
that's the most recent one?
10 million. Yeah, that's
No, that was the one from a year ago where Elon Musk got high.
No, he just did one now.
Oh, yeah, he
Again.
did a new one, but the most viewed one was the one where Elon Musk
Wow.
smoked weed.
That's so interesting. I think from listening to his podcast, I think a big reason why he's done it is because of how much censorship he's gotten on YouTube, and how often they demonetize anything they talk about. Yeah, he stopped live streaming.
And then, it was like a natural progression here. I think it's insane. And you know what? It's pretty cool. It shows that his podcast is actually worth more, I reckon, than the biggest Tonight Show.
Easy.
Like, there's no way a Tonight Show could sell the rights to their show of an original concept for $100 million, or if it is anywhere in that ballpark.
I don't think so. I mean, didn't Dave Chappelle, at the height of Chappelle's show, was his deal even 100 million?
I don't know. That would have been
one that he
that's
turned
not really
down?
relative, though, because that was ages ago.
Yeah, true. What can you look that up, Keelan? That's a really interesting point. I really hope that this scares the fuck out of YouTube. Because if you think about it, they just lost like one of their biggest creators. That's the PewDiePie of podcasts, you know? That's one of their biggest ever creators.
If this is a success and podcasts, if Spotify end up profiting out of it, I don't know how they will. But hang on. So where's the video going now?
On Spotify, which means...
You can watch videos on Spotify now?
Not yet. They must be building that. Spotify's doing a real big push to take over podcasting because iTunes had it only because they were first and they put no effort into it at all. The iTunes one is quite bad, I think.
Yeah, the app's
the Spotify
not
players.
I don't use it anymore.
Spotify plays really good. I mean, we watched it happen like because we started podcasting before Spotify. When Spotify launched, they had like 5%. It was negligible. Now it's more than half of all audio listeners are on Spotify.
Well, I remember we were telling the radio station, they couldn't believe it. Like all the radio bosses, like we were the ones informing them of what was happening. So that we're like, in the last year, our podcast numbers on Spotify have gone from 5% people listen on Spotify to 45%. And that was when we quit radio. Now I think about 60% of the people who listen to our podcast listen on Spotify.
Because I remember they wanted us, they didn't want us on Spotify because Spotify competes with radio, and we were like, no way. That's has
to be
half our audience. So I think it's real interesting to see Spotify stand up and take something so controversial. I mean, it is such a controversial platform. He interviews people that a lot of people think are evil and scum, and lots of things are said that advertisers don't like. But Spotify kind of doesn't have to care about advertisers because it's a paid platform. I think that almost all of these people are complaining about censorship and social media platforms censoring, and they have to do that to survive because they're reliant on paying their bills with advertisers who will crack it if you say something fuck, because Toyota don't want their ads on that. So like, if you really want like controversial stuff, you have to pay for it because an advertiser isn't going to stand by my fuck jokes, I suppose.
But that's the way it's always been. Like HBO was always on Foxtel, like.
Yeah.
It's kind of always been that. And then there was this golden era where all of a sudden you could watch fuck stuff for free. But then as soon as advertisers get involved, as soon as anything starts to make money, everything changes again. And now it's just turning into what TV turned into, which is if you want the fuck stuff, you got to pay for it on Foxtel.
I reckon because Joe doesn't need money. Like when I met him and spoke to him, I just got a whiff and I was like, oh, this guy could stop today and his grandkids could buy houses. So like, I think a big motivator, I mean, if I was at his
why did he do it, do you reckon?
thing,
It seems like
I think he would have done it because he was just sick of censorship on YouTube. Like, they would demonetize his stuff. Like, it's fucking expensive to run the Joe Rogan podcast. As much money as he is making, he wouldn't be, I don't think, for the amount of views he'd be getting, I don't think he would be making that much money on YouTube AdSense. I would think that a lot of their shit would be getting demonetized. I mean, if he drinks alcohol and smokes, that alone demonetized. Fuck what they're talking about, which a lot of the time is some scary shit.
Yeah, I think that I can't even really think that his audience will drop that much. I reckon maybe it might
I don't think so.
10, 15%. I think his audience is pretty loyal, it seems. I don't really listen to many episodes, but it seems like the people who do
the comments
fucking
seem
love it.
real positive, and especially because he was not on Spotify. I think that's a lot of people were asking him to do that anyway because it is such a good platform. So for me, if I had such a big platform, I'd be like, well, if I'm not here and everybody wants me on here and so does Spotify, fuck, I'm going to charge them for it. And then if Spotify goes, all right, we'll pay for it, but how about we triple it and we get you? And because, I mean, they're the future of podcasting anyway. So I think it makes sense, especially if he would have the power to be like, okay, but you don't touch my show and I can say what and do whatever the fuck I want with no repercussion.
You
I
can
bet
still listen
that's
to
there.
it for free on Spotify, I guess, even if you don't have premium, because you just cop ads, right?
Yeah, which is YouTube.
Does everyone, like, I would actually be interested, to people who listen to this podcast, you can sound off below or whatever. Do most people pay for, I think most people pay for Spotify or Apple Music, right? Most people pay for a music thing. No one still torrents music, right? Surely.
Nah, not music. People torrent like movies and things, more expensive stuff. I think it's died down Netflix a lot because it's
affordable.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I wasn't worried about putting my special out online for a pay thing, because as I think as long as you make it easy and affordable, people will just get it because they appreciate that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if his audience gets smaller. It'll be also interesting to see what their video platform is like, to see if like the player's good. Because the player might just suck or something, and anything could turn people off. But hopefully they do it well.
I think if they're going for just podcast, doesn't look like they're going for like videos or anything like that. But if they're going for just podcast, it would be something you would think that you can pause, like lock your screen and it still plays, because YouTube can do that, but only if you pay for it, and YouTube Premium's quite expensive. Like, I have it, but
it's like $20 a month.
$20 a month, which is off. Yeah, I only have it because that when you have that, creators actually get paid fairly. So that's why I like it, and the play in the background thing is really good. But if Spotify does that, that's like YouTube's best feature, used mainly for podcasts, gone.
And they're undercutting the price by about half as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I really like about Spotify, and is the reason I got rid of YouTube Music, and the reason I got rid of Spotify is because you can change to video or song in the app.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
Oh, so you got YouTube Music.
Yeah, I got rid of Spotify because I pay $15 a month for some reason for my premium.
Okay, I think people got it cheaper at some point.
Yeah, I think like if
since
you
it
got
came
it back
out,
in the day, it was like $11 or $12
I
or
pay,
something.
I think
Yeah.
$6, but it's like a family account.
Oh, that's
Okay.
true. Yeah, you can get.
Oh, I'm getting
family
fucking
ones.
ripped over here.
But if
Yeah.
that's what they did for the podcast where you could watch the video or listen to audio, that would make me resubscribe to Spotify.
I mean, if they do that, surely you would think they would do the same thing with music video.
Man,
And
that would
then-
be great if you could on the train. You just wanted to listen to. Then we started talking about something where you had to see something. You just
Yeah.
flick open your phone and you can start watching it exactly where you left off from. That would
Yeah.
be amazing. Like that would change the game for a lot of people.
I mean, yeah,
People would
think
half
about how
watch,
many-
half listen.
Think about how many people just missed that KKK hood because, they were on iTunes.
I know, guys.
Such a good gag, and you missed it. You got to go back.
You're gonna have to go over to YouTube to see properly how fucking racist that was. That was really fucked up. That he
Lewis
did
is actually
that.
doing blackface right now.
Yeah, but you've been missing it the
Yeah.
whole episode.
You had no idea.